Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope everybody's staying healthy and safe on this summer day, July 15th, 2020. Not a lot going on in the sports world right now because of the pandemic, and definitely not a lot going on in Ninerville at the moment. Although, as it's been well documented, at least for us Niners fans, the media definitely has its bias towards the 49ers, and there's always something out there that gets under my skin, and I have made plenty of videos in the past about such transgressions, and sure enough, ESPN decided to drop an article about the ranking offensive weapons, and as usual, the 49ers are ranked definitely not near the top. We'll just say that. In fact, they were ranked 18th in total ranking for their total offensive weapons, like as a group. And this comes after Chris Sims says that Jimmy G is the 20th ranked quarterback. You got Madden ranking Niners close to 99, but not quite. There's just always just these little slights that happen all the time. You have ESPN have a little bit of debate with Stephen A. about if Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, we would have won the Super Bowl. It's always there's this undercurrent. Unless you're a Niners fan like us and we watch the games, at least last year, and we see everything firsthand, and we know that I think the media definitely has an East Coast bias. I don't think they do their homework. I forget exactly what media shill said that George Kittle was a bad blocking tight end last year. His name escapes me. I'm sure one of you guys know who I'm talking about, and he got ridiculed on Twitter for that one. But to go back to this Bill Barnwell article from ESPN, I look at it and crazily enough, I actually somewhat agree with the article that Bill Barnwell put out. He takes away quarterbacks and offensive scheme and offensive line, and he just goes by the offensive weapons. And he does say that Deebo Samuel could be the guy, an impactful target long term, but he suffered an injury, so that's kind of an up in the air thing. The one thing I will say that I think is crazy is he has us ranked bottom of the division as far as offensive weapons. And I automatically think when you have a guy like George Kittle, that automatically catapults you past everybody because he's a superstar. Let's look at this article here. It says the Niners have one unquestioned star in tight end George Kittle, who's the best all-around player at the position in the league. He says that Travis Kelce is more impactful as a pure receiver, but as an all-around player, that Kittle is, better. He says outside of Kittle, though, who is the 49ers' legitimate target that can threaten defenses on a consistent play-in and play-out. The thing I'll say is that he does go on to say that with Samuel's injury, the Niners will need some young receivers like Brandon Ayuk, the rookie, and Jalen Hurd to step up. Guys like Dante Pettis, Trent Taylor, Travis Benjamin, he says that they're better than most teams' fourth and fifth wideouts, but it's unclear if any of them will actually make the roster, which I somewhat agree with, He does say that Shanahan can create a successful rushing attack with just about anybody in the backfield. I agree, which is relevant given the Raheem Mostert situation. It says Mostert led the league in rushing and still haunts the Packers after his postseason performance, which I agree with. And that Shanahan has only been willing to use Mostert as a true number one back when Tevin Coleman has been unavailable. The only thing I will say on top of all of that is, yeah, they might not have the best all-around players as far as receiving core and all that go. But we got to remember, and we cannot forget, that the 49ers finished number 4 in total yards last year, and they were number 2 in both points scored and rushing yards. So, I understand the article, and I actually kind of agree with it that, from a player-to-player standpoint, we don't have that talent. But to me, it comes down to just as another slight. The fact that they rate us 4th in our division, as far as player talent go, it's just something else that it's like another notch in the belt of disrespect that we've been dealing with since last year. But, the only way, I say all the time, the only way we can get away from hearing that kind of criticism is winning the championship. And until that happens, we're going to continue to get this kind of, reaction. Then again, the Giants won 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots, and that didn't, stop them from criticizing Eli Manning his whole career. So the way I look at it is it's not really that big of a deal. It's just something that I notice because I'm a social media follower and I pay attention to all things Niners. So I pick up on all the slights and all the disrespect, especially from, like I said, from the East Coast region. There's definitely a bias for sure because they don't watch the games. You can tell by some of the things that have been said on First Take where you're just like, did you watch the same game as I did? Because, I did that a lot last year, especially with Stephen A. But like I said, it's not really important in the stream of things, but for me, it bothers me definitely, and I know some fans it bothers too. I just want to know what you guys think about it. Do you guys get as pissed off as I do about stuff? Do you agree with the article? Somewhat. I do in a lot of ways. But again, I just, I think there is that quick to defend the 49ers feeling because we're disrespected so much all the time. So when you see an article like that, your automatic reaction is to be mad. But then if you kind of look at the article, you can see that there's some valid points. But at the same time, the Niners have been underestimated and undervalued, and it goes into video games as well. So I guess my biggest thing is, you see these teams every year like the Dallas Cowboys, the Saints, the Patriots when they had Brady. The media has their darlings that they love and that they are just so crazy about because they put up a lot of big stats. And I don't know, they just have their favorites. And the Niners are just such a workman type team. They just go in, do their business, and win. And it's not always pretty. And unfortunately, with the media, they look for guys that throw for 5,000 yards and 60 touchdowns. That seems to be all they care about. I mean, look at the Saints. Other than their one Super Bowl victory, I mean, every year they have the media just like oohing and ahhing over them. And then what happens? They get eliminated in the first round, like every time. Dallas doesn't even make the playoffs. So I don't even need to say anything about that. But they have their favorites, they have their bias, and it's probably never going to change. But I'm always going to speak up about it because I'm passionate about the Niners, and I know you guys are too. So, yeah, that's going to do it for me. I'll talk to you guys later. Everybody have a great day, and stay safe. See ya.